If Jason Black, aka the Black Authority, ain't saying something, that means he's saying something. Good morning, everyone. It's your girl, Miss Analytical. Yes, I am up, still doing commentary. Like I said I would. I said I would come back with the commentary about the Black Authority. Now, I was supposed to do it much earlier, but then I got caught up with making comments. And I want to thank everybody that has viewed and has listened to my upload in turn with involving Breonna Taylor being disrespected horribly by Kwame Brown. I mean, it's just heart-wrenching, and I had to say something about that. So I want to take the time out to talk about a video that I viewed and listened to 3 weeks ago in regards to the Black Authority criticizing, rightfully so, Kwame Brown. Now, months previously, before the criticism of Kwame Brown, there were many people who were, calling in the show, because I listen to the show weekly, and they were basically telling him, what do you think of Kwame Brown? Yo, he's the real thing. He's the truth, because he spoke out against Stephen A. Smith. So he said in exact words, yes, I've heard some things about him, but I'm not a fanboy, So, he does say some good things, but I've been viewing the content, and it's not, there's some things, I got to watch out for. I'm not quick to jump on the bandwagon and support somebody who I don't know. He comes from the sports world. So sometimes you got to be careful with it. Now, I want to let you know, I meant to say the word paraphrasing, so I just caught it. So months went by and people would ask about Kwame Brown to TBA on the shows. And a lot of times he ignored it. But then this one man called, and this was in regards to the whole Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And he had said, I used to like Kwame Brown, but after he talked about black people, pretty much like criticizing what Kyle Rittenhouse did in terms of shooting the white people because they were protecting blacks, he was upset because he was emphatic. He said he supported Kyle Rittenhouse and he shouldn't go to jail. And he said that we as blacks were stupid to basically criticize him for doing something when all he was doing was just protecting his life and himself. And he was rightfully justified in killing them, not to even take the time out to really research the whole truth behind why Kyle Rittenhouse shot them, which was because those white men, and even though they didn't live their life right. I want to make that clear. One of them was a horrible person. But at that moment, he saw what was going on. And he went in, along with the other one, and then the third one who lived, and basically said, preventing him from following the dude, the black men that weren't doing anything, but just rightfully protested. And he was following many of them throughout the day of protesting when he was pretending to wash and clean the walls, and then he was a medic who didn't have any medic equipment on him. So people got up in arms, and I was upset with Kwame. But TBA had told the man who was speaking, he said, I don't know if you have really been aware of it, but if you've been listening to me for years, you know that when I'm quiet about somebody or something, that means that I'm pretty much not talking about them for a lot of reasons. I'm really much speaking values. Like, if I'm not saying something, chances are that means I'm saying something. Meaning that my silence is powerful. You want me to talk about Kwame Brown? I'm not going to talk about Kwame Brown because I'm talking about him by letting you know I don't support him. So, the week of the verdict, we all know Kwame basically was happy. Jason Black wasn't. But the thing is that Jason Black ended up calling out Kwame Brown as well as the father for Ahmaud Arbery. Now, Kwame Brown supposedly he said he supported the three white men being convicted for killing them. Now, he was saying that on his show, but some people think it was suspect only because his audience changed throughout the months of this year. But when Jason Black criticized him, he criticized Arbery's father, but he also pointed out how Kwame Brown can't be trusted. Like, you all supported him because he was a sports person, but you didn't know who he was. He not only speaks out against Black empowerment, he speaks out against racism. He speaks out about Blacks criticizing racists, and he aligns himself with Candace Owens, which is like a huge no-no. And another Black conservative, or another Black false conservative, because that's what I'm gonna start calling them, who basically, in my opinion, is, I don't know if it was Brandon Tatum, but anyway, Kwame Brown found out about it, and he was disrespectful towards TBA. Now, TBA never called him the N-word. He never called him the B-word. He never calls him the MF word. He never calls him out of his name, except for he said he exhibits coonish behavior. That's all he said. Kwame Brown called this man everything but a child of God, and called him stupid, called him ignorant. He basically said, MF, show your face. He also calls him the N-word at least 7 times from how I counted. It was about 25-minute audio, and he was just going off on him. And he was like, just because I don't think like you, just because I supported Kyle Rittenhouse, I'm a coon, I'm a traitor. And he told him basically in so many words to go F himself. Now, instead of, calling TBA on a follow-up a follow-up show, because he could have called him on Sunday. He could have called him the next week. He basically went on live on his YouTube and basically trashed out another Black man in front of an audience that he has that is now predominantly Black male, but still a lot of them who watch it are white. And I saw the people who was supporting him, and quite a few of them, they were white. Now, by then, I was just like, nah, I can't support this dude. The whole Kyle Rittenhouse support alone turned me off, but the way he went about it, like, you wasn't even talking in terms of, like, the Second Amendment. You was just going off. You was more angry at Black people involved in really following the trial more so than Ahmaud Arbery. We were following both, but we knew that they were going to be convicted. We wanted Kyle Rittenhouse to be convicted because the gun presented itself when the gun was purchased for him. It was a premeditated murder. He came there to kill. Now, I've said what I said. You can listen to my other audios about that in my commentaries. Now, going back to Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown has a criticism problem. And I believe that's why he didn't do so well in the NBA. And many of my subscribers and viewers and listeners have said this. They said that he didn't receive criticism well. And also, Jordan pretty much broke his spirit. And from what I'm gathering from the latter, I believe that Kwame Brown doesn't like Black people because of his experience in the NBA. So he's more in line to be a conservative, not because he truly had those values, but because he feels that white people in general and non-Blacks were not mean to him as much as the Black people in the NBA. Like, if you look at photos of NBA players at events, and we're going to the 2000s because he was there pretty much all through 2000s, you never see him. And you see those who weren't like in the elite portion of the NBA, but you don't see him. It's like he never really hung out with them. He was just on the court, and then you would see him at events, and guess who was predominantly at those events? White people. He was hugged up more so with white celebrities than Black celebrities. I don't know what that was all about, but that's, pretty much the photos. Now, he did charity work, but look at the photos. I done my research. So when people are calling this man out, especially after what he said about Breonna Taylor, like that was just bad. I mean, like I said before in the other commentary, if I would have known about that, I would not have subscribed to him. But I did it really because of him standing up to Stephen A. Smith, because we all know how he is, and Charlemagne, we all know how he is. But this man won't even apologize, but want an apology from Charlemagne the God, which he got, but he wouldn't apologize to the Breonna Taylor family, and he wouldn't apologize to some of the other people that he basically condemned who are black. But the thing about it, more importantly, is that he's very much arrogant. He displays dark Piscean traits. And if you align yourself with Candace Owens, like, it's one thing, hey, you and her may agree on one or two things, but you caping for her and you sitting down with her and you meeting with her, you mean with all these black conservatives, but yet it's still, when you had the opportunity to basically be a MAGA supporter and put on your MAGA hat and go to those events and meet Trump, you could have did it because you were a former NBA player. You didn't do it. You basically, I feel as though he was on YouTube at the time. But the thing about it also is that we have to also understand something. If Kwame would have had a different experience in the NBA, let's say he would have been a championship player or a conference championship player or all-star player, he may not have gotten the ring because many NBA players don't get it. But if he would have been a celebrated NBA player, I don't believe that he would even be on YouTube, or at least be on YouTube but not talking to the public. I don't believe he would be around Angela Stanton King or even Joe Brown, Judge Joe Brown. I don't even believe he would have been, bigging up other smaller YouTubers. No. And another thing that's really disturbing is that, I don't know if you ever watched an interview with him and Judge Joe Brown, but it's very important to watch. When he was talking about Charlemagne and when Judge Joe Brown was criticizing him, he allowed Judge Joe Brown to call him all kinds of names, as well as the other members from the Breakfast Club. But when Judge Joe Brown was calling that white woman out from ESPN, he calls her out of her name. Kwame Brown said, "Oh, chill. We can't use that language. He does not speak bad, derogatory towards or about white people, but he uses all sorts of racial slurs against us. He doesn't even do that to Asians nor Hispanics. He has self-hate issues, and I believe it was developed in the NBA, and it could have been because of a family history. They said that he didn't even like his mother. I don't know if that's true. They said that he didn't treat her right at all. I don't know. They also said that the whole Mama's Cooking was basically in response to the fact that people were criticizing him because of the way he treated his mother. So he was basically trying to rebrand himself and pretty much, try to make people forget about that. But that shit don't fly right with me. And, seeing somebody who's speaking the stuff that he's speaking, you can't trust him at all. You can't. But it's a lesson for all of us. And TBA, Jason Black is right. We can't just jump on a bandwagon of somebody who's talking to us because they're a celebrity. We need to vet people properly before we give them the approval and we let them in. Because remember, a lot of times entertainers, regardless of what medium they're in, and sports players, athletes, they're from the outside. Once you leave and you go into that world, you're basically in a whole nother world. Yes, you're going to be around other black people of wealth, but a lot of times you're not going to really, really, really be around the regular everyday person, let alone black person. So you have to basically vet them, because Kwame was coming back in. And some people are even saying that he might be an agent. I don't know. But what I do know is that Jason Black rightfully, spoke out against him. But Kwame said all these horrible things about him, but he never once called the show. He never once called. Now, I can't stand Cynthia G. I can't stand her, but I gotta keep it real. When her and Jason Black was going at it, that chick called. She called. I mean, it was epic. I think the audio is still up, but she was brave enough to call him. Especially when she said, be that as it may, be that as it may. You know what, Jason Black, you always think that you can say anything. Show your face. And he says, and it was epic. He said, oh, why? Because you have a long forehead. I mean, he was going at it, but she bravely called. She called into the show. Kwame Brown has yet to do that. So hopefully he calls in to the show and, talk and confronts TBA and talks to him, because I want to see it. It would be epic. But I think 9 times out of 10, he doesn't want to do it because he know that Jason Black, a.k.a. the Black Authority, will basically make mincemeat of him. And it's your girl, Miss Anna Local. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to this live on Spreaker. Make sure you comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And hashtag this post as MAETVP. That's the new hashtag. It's no longer Miss Anna Local. I've changed the title of it. And basically support people that support us, regardless of disagreements or not. People that's not trying to throw us on the bus. Let's support people like that, regardless of who they are. And with that being said, I'm signing out. Take care.